Mamba out.
Better. Forever.
What the hell happened, WWE? What the hell happened? I was reading reports that Vince McMahon came in a couple hours before airtime and just changed the whole schedule of Raw. And I'm telling you right now, it shows completely, and it disappoints me because I was into SummerSlam. I was into SummerSlam. You can check out my SummerSlam review that I was actually into it. But now, I don't know what to say. What's going on, YouTube? It's NC Place to be chilling with Mr. Andy back here. That's another Raw review for Kobe Day. I'll make sure I get the date right. August 24th. God, I miss Kobe. I miss Kobe so much, though. Yeah, August 8/24. So it's Kobe Day right there. So here we go, Raw. Drew McIntyre comes out and he's celebrating. I got a win over Randy, and then as Randy attacks him from the back as he celebrates with the title and beats him down, right? So you thought Shawn Michaels was something. They take Drew McIntyre to the back. They're in gorilla position, and then Randy Orton hits Drew McIntyre with a punt kick. Then Drew McIntyre is powering through it and trying to get up, and then Randy Orton's like, He hits with a second punt kick and takes out Drew McIntyre. So I'm just like, damn, okay. So, we start off like this. So obviously, we're probably going to get a match for Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton coming up at Payback or something like that, right? And this is not going to be in any kind of order because, like I said, I watched Raw, and I'm not going to sit there and act like I took the notes to remember the kind of order because that's how bad the show was. So I'm getting the order of how I try to remember it. We have a match between Bayley and Shayna Baszler, as Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are in the back kind of arguing with each other about, Shayna Baszler calling Nia Jax ugly, which we know is not true. She's being a model, and I think Nia Jax is a good looking woman, and then she calls Shayna Baszler ugly, which is not fair. But I'm saying, I don't think Shayna Baszler is ugly though, but she wins the ass, something like that. So it's like they taking shots at each other. She goes out there to face Bayley. Sasha Banks is out there because Sasha Banks is going to have a match with Asuka later on tonight in a lumberjack match. That's going to make any difference of what's going to be the outcome of what the match is going to be. But it's going to be a lumberjack match between them a little bit later on. So the match is fine, but then Nia Jax comes down, starts attacking Shayna Baszler, gets the match disqualified. So I'm like, okay, well, we didn't really get to know nothing like that. So Bayley and Sasha Banks are making fun of them, but then all of a sudden they turn their attention to them and start going and chasing them to the back. So now at Payback, after all the stuff that they was doing, it's now going to be Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler going up against Bayley and Sasha Banks. And then Nia Jax said, well, I think we can make a good team because I want those tag team titles. And she says, I'll do it, and then you better promise to get off my back. And then she says, sure, if you follow my league. And then Shayna Baszler slaps her. I'm just like, is this going to be like a Sheamus and Cesaro thing where they create the bar and stuff like that? And then they created the dynamic duo of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I'm like, no, Shayna Baszler needs to be whooping her ass. That's what needs to be happening. Fatal 4-way for the 24/7 championship: Cedric Alexander, R-Truth, Akira Tozawa, and Shelton Benjamin. Because if Shelton Benjamin hurt business, this is what he should be doing. And I mean, I don't mind having legit matches for the 24/7 championship. However, it wasn't a legit match. Shelton knees Alexander to the outside, and then Akira Tozawa rolls up R-Truth, and then there you have it. And he runs off with the ninjas, and then he wins the 24/7 championship back. I'm like, y'all could have made this actually interesting ass matchup, but no, if y'all gonna do that little bit of angle, y'all didn't really need the whole matchup. It's time for the Kevin Owens show, and Kevin Owens show is going to be brought to you special guest by Aleister Black. We haven't seen Aleister Black in a month ever since Buddy Murphy shoved his eye into the steel steps. Well, Kevin Owens has a nice red shirt on with his suit tie and everything, and then he comes out to the ring, and then he wants to introduce Aleister Black. Aleister Black comes out, and he has the little like towel something covering his eye or whole half his face. And Kevin Owens actually likes to the crowd, see everybody clap for the Kevin Owens show. So he comes out there and he says, Aleister Black says, go ahead, show the footage. So he shows the footage of him getting the eye. He said, look, I understand what you go through because Seth and his crew made me want to actually leave here. Look at what's happening to Dominic and Rey Mysterio. And then all of a sudden, Aleister Black falls down on one knee as if like he's sick or something. And Kevin Owens says, can we get some help in here? And then bam, he gets kicked right in the face, kicked by Aleister Black and then in the gut, that falls down and gets a black match by Aleister Black. So Aleister Black, apparent heel turn, because there was no reason to attack Kevin Owens. Aleister Black versus Kevin Owens matchup, sign me up for, because that's probably the only thing good that came out of this show when it comes to future matchups. Montez Ford and Angel Dawkins are celebrating that they want to smoke, and then we're going with Angel Garza's coming out to the ring with the Demi Girl. Who cares? Ivar comes out there with a turkey leg, takes her back. Who gives a crap? Montez Ford wins with an impressive twisting frog splash, which is great. He's got one of the best frog splashes in the business or ever, because he's like definitely top 5 frog splashes that has ever done it. Keith Lee is supposed to be here on Raw. I haven't seen him yet, but Randy Orton comes out to talk about what he has done, but then Keith Lee comes out and lets Randy know that Drew McIntyre's his friend, and in the whole way he talks like this, that he wants Randy Orton tonight. And Randy Orton says, Keith Lee, that's what it is, right? He said, you will go at it right now, maybe later. So, which is indicating, okay, we're going to have a match later on tonight. So, Keith Lee versus Randy Orton set for later on tonight. I was like, okay. And then we get backstage. Dominic and Rey Mysterio are going to team up tonight against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. We're getting that match on Raw. I mean, that's not a payback match. Is that I thought, or a build-up matchup? Because I'm like, it's a big moment, right? But no, we're getting that match tonight. Then we get Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. Oh my God. Why did they do all these changes to Keith Lee? One, first of all, my ringtone on my phone is Keith Lee's ringtone, okay? The Basket is Glory, and then him rapping his song. That's the beauty of it. But no, what comes up, it's like, Basket is Glory, then of course it's like this rock song. I'm like, this sucks. He comes out there with this skirt looking like, okay, are you either wearing a skirt, or you wearing the Samoa Joe thin shorts, or what's going on here? Then he unzips his Basket is Glory thing. He got a shirt on. I'm like, how many changes? Why are you changing Keith Lee for the sake of changing Keith Lee because he's on the main roster? He was fine at Survivor Series. Keith Lee know he big. He ain't like, because this reminds me of Killian Dane. When Killian Dane first came from Sandy and Vince changed the whole get up. And I'm like, ew. Don't do that. You don't need to change what Killian Dane is. That's what Killian Dane does. And now y'all go here and change Keith Lee for what? Because he has a gut? So does Kevin Owens. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, he was fine the way he was. And I'm like, I like the Basket of Glory hoodie. He comes out with the hoodie that flips it up and stuff like that. But no, he got this silver. Everything just looked off about Keith Lee. So then he does like a leap over Randy Orton and kicks him down, but it's nothing really impressive because he got no time to do anything because Drew McIntyre comes out to get him disqualified. That's the debut of Keith Lee. So that Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are fighting in the backstage, and then what happens to Drew McIntyre again? He gets punt kicked again for the 3rd time. Now you talk about he may have a skull fracture. I mean, okay, well, he's fine because the WWE doctors are amazing because they can put Rey Mysterio's eye back in for him to be the tag team matchup tonight. So, of course, Drew McIntyre get hit in the head with the skull. He'll be just fine. But you know what? Keith Lee says, since he hit my friend, you know what I'm saying, and I get a match, so now I'm going to get the match at Payback of Orton and Keith Lee. When you could have just debuted Keith Lee tonight to save Drew McIntyre from the assault that he was going to get from Randy Orton. Everybody be like, oh shit, Keith Lee is on Raw, and then I want you at Randy Orton and then have him beat Randy Orton and Payback to show off what Keith Lee can do, and then you fucked it all up. Mark Henry is back because we see Cedric Alexander and Ricochet going at it on his arm wrestling pose, and he's just like, you want to go one-on-one me, Cedric? He's like, no. So he said, okay, well, I'm taking this out to the ring, but then MVP comes up there and says to Cedric, what are you doing sitting here arm wrestling, playing with Ricochet, stuff like that? The Office of the Hurt Business is still, open to you. And Ricochet's like, well, look, man, you better get the step in. He said, man, I wasn't even talking to you. So obviously there's this little beef going on, trying to get Cedric over. Cedric's going to turn heel. He's going to turn heel eventually. But he said, because you just keep hanging out with the guy who calls himself the one and only. So he goes out. So Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews is up next in the arm wrestling contest. You already know these. I would love to see a legit arm wrestling contest, but we never going to get one. Bobby Lashley's up there. He's mocking it. Apollo Crews comes down there, beats him real quick because he's not even paying attention. Bobby's pissed, and then Apollo gets the upper hand and beats him up, and then goes outside the ring. I'm just like, well, okay. The purpose of that was for what? Which leads us to Raw Underground, where Bobby Lashley's like, I want to pick up a fight, and then Shane welcomes him into Raw Underground. The less I say about the Natalya and Lana segment featuring my girl Mickie James, the better. Raw Underground, Bobby Lashley chokes out some random guy. Then Dolph Ziggler tries to come in there, and then he just tosses Dolph Ziggler around. So remember, Bobby Lashley used to do MMA for real. So it was just being impressive with him and her business going in there and just trying to fight and beat up things. Now the Raw Underground looks terrible because they moved out the PC and into this arena, so they got all these bright lights and stuff like that. It don't even look when it had just a little bit of greenness to it, like a little bit of that brown dirtiness behind it. It's so clean now. The production's so great now with Raw Underground. I'm like, well, now it just looks terrible. So in my opinion, it looks terrible. Whatever greenness he had of it, it's gone. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Bianca Belair are getting ready to get that work when it comes over to facing the Iconics and Selena Vega in a 6-woman tag team matchup. No contest here. They sit there and make easy work of them as Bianca Belair puts it's the KOD on Selena Vega, and then that's the end of the matchup right there. So nothing really special here. I mean, you could do more with all these women, to be honest with you, but they're not. So I don't understand. I mean, I like the team of Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Ruby Riott, but don't Bianca Belair needs to be going to do something like challenging for titles. If you're gonna bring Liv Morgan back to go back with Ruby Riott, they need to be going for the tag team championships. You know what I'm saying? Start creating these tag teams for Raw, for SmackDown, for this women's division. The Hurt Business is still dominating on Raw Underground, and then the Viking Raiders get up in there, so they start attacking the Hurt Business. So we may have a tag team matchup with them next week. Who knows of how things are going, because like I said, right now after seeing tonight's episode, I'm over Raw Underground, and they took everything a little bit out of it. Now it's time for the tag team main event between Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio with A&G in the background. Let's look in the back versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. So it's a tag team matchup that I was expecting to get at a pay-per-view because I thought it was a little bit decent, but the issue with the tag team matchup is that it does Dominic is about to go for a frog splash and the lights start flickering. I said, what? So then here comes Retribution. They're coming out and they're attacking Dominic and Rey Mysterio, and then Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy kind of go off to the back just to watch them do it. And then so they got this one tall dude in there, and I'm just like, that's Dominic Dijakovic. If I could take a guess and a shot in the dark and say that's Dominic Dijakovic. Okay. These members keep changing. Now they're bigger. There's only like one woman in there. They're beating up Mysterio. They throw him on the outside with his little slide through the under the bottom rope, on chest first onto the outside. They throw Dominic out there, and that's how the show ends with Retribution. I'm just sitting there like, really? I'm over Retribution. I am really over. They have done more. You know what? I can't believe I'm even saying this. The Dark Order is starting to interest me more than Retribution. And for anybody who listens to my Wednesday Night War reviews knows that I always say the Dark Order sucks. Or I take after Christopher Daniels and say the Dark Order sucks. So I don't like them, but the Retribution is just even worse. So Raw automatically gets a thumbs down from me. It was not a good Raw. It was not a good follow-up to SummerSlam, and it wasn't a good go home to Payback, because now I'm like, for the Raw matches, all we got is Keith Lee, Randy Orton. Then we got Apollo and Lashley for the United States Championship. And I'm still trying to think other matches that we. Oh, Sasha and Bayley against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. You can tell this thing is thrown together. So you already know what the main event's going to be, because we got a triple threat match, no holds barred. Roman's back. Roman's going to be the main event. Post your comments down below. How do you guys feel about Raw? More importantly, how do y'all feel about Keith Lee's change? Post that in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my Raw review. Hit the subscribe button for more WWE content right here on Nerd Coalition. So once again, this is NC Place to Be. Chunch on Mr. AND, and Nerd Coalition is out.